Hello. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy new moon energies. They're upon us. Today's been really interesting. I felt really great this morning. I didn't sleep super great last night. It was really odd sleep, and I just feel it's these energies coming in. Today was good, and then it got sort of heavy, and then I was sitting outside after work having a beer, just relaxing, enjoying some sun, getting my vitamin D for the day. And I felt like I was in a vortex. It was really, really odd. It was like this energy vortex. I felt like it was like whooshing around me, like that whoosh, that moving wind sound. And I'm like, what is this? And sometimes like even with my intuitive nature, I'm like, am I losing my mind? And then I realized, I read an article that I posted, is that we're entering the eclipse portal now. So I think that's what I was hearing, was that shift in the energies moving into that eclipse portal with these new moon energies. So super cool. When we're heading into the eclipse season, it's super purging. So as I say every time I come on, keep holding on. We have a very powerful black moon coming up, black full moon coming up in 2 weeks, after this new moon. And whatever we're manifesting with this new moon is going to be super amplified with that black moon and a lot of purging. So continue feeling what comes up. I'm just going to say this in every video from now on. Continue feeling everything that comes up. Don't push it down anymore. If you're feeling, I got triggered today by something that happened, and I was feeling like I wasn't good enough. And before I would be like, no, I'm fine. But I felt into it. I allowed it to flow. And I'm like, I'm being silly. This has nothing to do with me. Why am I feeling this? Because it took me back to being a little kid, feeling like I wasn't good enough, feeling like I'm getting in trouble for something that was totally made up in my mind, because it was a belief pattern that I had within my system. So felt through that one, made it through the other side. Didn't judge myself. I was very proud of myself. I gave myself a pat on the back. And that's super important too. When you find you're making shifts in your life, when you find you're overcoming these patterns where maybe before something would happen and you'd go gossip with everybody about it, or like bringing all the energy to your own drama, and maybe this time you've taken the high road and you've made the choice that you're not going to feed into anything anymore. You're not going to talk about it. Maybe you'll talk about it down the road, but it's not for the same effect where you're trying to bring everybody into your misery or your drama or whatever, those kind of things where you're not reacting to somebody how you used to, where you're not reacting within yourself the way you used to, where you're not talking negatively about yourself. When you do things like that, give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. We all deserve it. And validating ourselves is super powerful, because that's when we're really owning our power, and we're saying, you know what, I made a really great decision, and, give thanks for the guidance that you have, and just be like, yeah, I'm going to give myself a big hug today, because it's so important, especially with the state of things right now, with people still being on lockdowns, not having the same connection with everybody around you, not, being able to go out and be with a group of friends. I know some places on the earth plane, things are not locked down, but a lot of the majority still are. Like, I know where I am, we're locked down, and it's, we're not stuck in our houses, but my kids, their schools are closed. I know for me, I can't go out and sit with my friends and have a meal. I have, you have to do FaceTime and stuff. So take that little extra time for self-love, self-compassion, guidance. If you're feeling lost, just ask for help. Ask your guides, ask everybody for help, and just keep aligning with that highest timeline. Keep aligning with joy. With what happened to me today, the triggers before, those would have sent me into a spiral of self-despair or self-pity or coping strategies. Whereas today, I went through the whole cycle of emotion. I didn't push it down. I didn't ignore it. I went through the cycle. I had my little bit of an emotional panic attack, nothing major, but I was like, okay, I'm going to breathe through this. What is causing this? Where is it coming from? Why is it this? I actually reached out and I, talked to myself about it, and I wrote it down, and I allowed those emotions to flow through me. And it came to the end where I was just like, all of a sudden, I'm just like, I've released this. I've released this knot in my system. I've unknotted it. So I say this a lot in my videos too. If you think, somebody's way farther ahead of you on the path or whatever path you may perceive them to be on, know that we're all human. Like, I still have moments of struggle where it's like, oh my gosh, like the littlest thing triggers me. And I'm like, absolutely done. Before I'd run away from my problems, before I would choose less than savory coping mechanisms, or I'd lash out, or I would, get mad at myself and say horrible things to myself. And now I'm like, no, I can't change the now. The only thing I can control is my reaction to it and allowing those emotions to go through. I was a stuffer. I don't know if anybody else out there is a stuffer. I was a stuffer of emotions for my whole life. I was never really taught how to process properly. I was never taught that my emotions were valid. I never felt like I was listened to. That could be totally just my perceived way, as a kid. And I look at that, and that's why it's so important to listen to our children and listen to children, period. Even if we don't have children, listen to children. If you have nieces and nephews or, younger siblings who want to talk, listen and validate their feelings. Whether they seem right or wrong to you, a lot of the time we're so quick to say, no, that's wrong. You shouldn't be feeling that way. You're not allowed to feel that way. Well, that's emotional gaslighting because they're feeling that way for a reason and they're trying to explain it to you. I was married to a man years and years ago. I got married really young. My daughter's father. And he used to tell me how I should feel all the time. And I'm a very, very sensitive being. Super sensitive, but I have a hard shell. So it's a really weird conundrum. And I'm sure lots of empaths out there can relate to that. He used to like to tell me how to feel. And I would believe him. He'd be like, you're not allowed to be sad. You should feel like this. And I'd be like, okay, well, I guess I should feel like this. And I almost had a nervous breakdown from it because it's like you don't even know. You become so out of touch with your own emotions. You don't know what's going on. So if anybody's ever telling you how to feel, or if you find yourself out of habit correcting and telling somebody how to feel, stop yourself and allow them to talk. Allow them to vent to a point where it's not destructive, because sometimes people are verbal processors. Some are not. I'm a verbal processor, so I understand that. Sometimes I'm a mental processor, but I do need to verbalize to release energies. But it's finding the balance where you're not gossiping and you're actually not making anxiety out of it because you're not overthinking it or thinking the worst possible scenario. Sometimes it's important. And what I tell clients is, if you're finding yourself like going over scenarios in your head, write it down. Start to journal. Because when you journal, sometimes ideas and sometimes, different ways of coping can come out. Sometimes the root of the problem will come out when you start to intuitively write. If you just sit down for like 10, 15 minutes and just write your feelings out, you'll be surprised what you come up with sometimes. And a lot of the time you'll unknot that giant knot and find the root of it, what's caused it. Maybe when you were young, maybe it was something that was said to you a week ago. You don't know. Sometimes when we're unconscious about things, this is why we have those beliefs, and this is why we get stuck in those thinking cycles. But I've gotten off track again because that's what I do. I just come on here and talk. And I just want to tell you all I love you. Sending lots of good vibes. This new moon is powerful. I can feel it. I feel like my inside's vibrating right now. It's like massive upgrades going on. After that throat chakra activation I hosted on Sunday, my throat was pretty shut down after it because when I do these channeled messages, they're for me too when they come through. That's why I'm channeling them, because they are for myself as well and the collective. So I felt major upgrades. My throat was quite clogged off yesterday when I was speaking and working, and I'm feeling a little more reprieve. I'm feeling it's nice. It's like I can breathe clearer and my words are coming out a lot smoother, which is awesome. I'll have I'll probably do another one in a couple weeks. I feel like there'll be time for another activation because there's so much change going on the earth plane right now. We really need to align with these energies. And if I can pull them through and facilitate this for you guys, I'm happy to do so. So keep an eye out for that. If you're watching this on Facebook, my events are always up in the events tab. I don't have anything right now. I've pulled back with my one-on-one and groups right now because I really need to take time for myself to integrate. I still offer a few one-on-one appointments. I open up a few a week. They're very sort of last minute-y. Right now I've opened up for not this weekend, but next weekend. I have a couple spots I've opened up. So if anybody's interested, check out my scheduling link. You can book directly with me through there for over Zoom. I love that about the earth right now, because we can just like connect from across the universe, from across the earth plane. It's so beautiful. And energy, working with energy is powerful because we're connected always. So it's like instant, you know. The first time I had a distant energy healing session, I was like, this is baloney, it's not going to work. And my mind was blown. I almost found it more powerful than an in-person, because the intention is just 10 times more powerful, because you're making sure you're really, really tuned in. Not that I'm not when I'm doing an in-person session, but yeah, over Zoom healing sessions are amazing. Activations are amazing. If you're watching this on YouTube, I post all my live videos on my YouTube channel. In the description, all the links are there for the Facebook community, for donations, for my website with all my my offerings. I'm tripping over my words now, but it's all on there. If you're on here and you're not subscribed to my YouTube, I welcome you to come and subscribe to my channel, because having those subscribers helps my algorithm. Sharing my videos helps my algorithm off YouTube. And it just helps get the light out there, because that's really all I'm here to speak. And I've always felt like I'm supposed to speak. And I used to get in trouble for talking too much, but I know I've stepped into my soul's purpose. I know I'm here. I've been put on this earth plane to speak and spread light and spread wisdom, spread channeled wisdom across the earth plane. And that's what I'm doing now. And that's what I've stepped into. And I absolutely love it. I love being able to spread light to others, because the more we spread as humans, the more others can spread their light, because as we rise, others around us rise. So that's why I'm so grateful for this path I've been given. This is my soul song. This is what I meant to do. So step into your soul purpose. What your soul's calling. What is your soul calling you to do? Step into it. Be you. Be truly you. Anyway, I'm going to pull a quick card before I don't stop talking. So we'll ask Spirit, what is in our highest best good to know today? And it's finding my path, just what I was talking about with your soul. So it says, I always find my path, even if I sometimes feel that I have lost my way. I have often taken pointless detours, but I do not devalue myself for this. I positively redirect my will towards God, and I find the one and only reason for my presence in this universe. My ultimate realization. This is my path. I now walk in peace. So love you all. There's the card. And everybody enjoy this full moon. Set your intentions. Set your intentions in a high vibe, positive linguistic way. Love you. Namaste.